Thanks. Bye.
So, if there are any questions,
let's see how to.
¿Qué, mi amor?
Hola,
Dime otra vez.
Que cuando me llegan los miedos y los pensamientos, como ¿qué pasa si paso toda mi vida en esta?
Okay, that's better. Well, I have a question from Richard. Hello, Richard. So, Richard, you write me, are all emotions personal? Are there impersonal emotions? Do emotions indicate a lack of awareness? So, yes, all emotions are personal, meaning that they refer to me as this person, as a body mind, me as a story, me as a history, thoughts and memories, past experiences. So emotion is quite different from an action or a feeling, let's say, or a bodily experience that is in the present, is not in time. For example, if you're facing somebody who is very mad or angry for whatever reason, we don't know, and it comes into your space, you will feel this madness, this energy, this motion. But it's not personal. That is just a transparency. Like, for example, when you step out in the sun, you feel the heat of the sun shining onto your body and tingling of your body. That is not personal. A personal emotion, and all emotions are personal, refers to me as a person. Meaning, it's not the complete absence of being. Instead, it is the presence of the story, the presence of the history, the presence of your ideas, your beliefs about how things should be, how your life should be, how others should be with you, should behave, your judgments of others, your judgments of yourself. All of these ideas and these beliefs that you have and these emotions that you will experience are a result of your identification, as a result of your opacity. Whenever the I thought arises, whenever the me, the person arises, there is an emotion. Very subtle. So you have very subtle emotion, and you have more activated emotions. I use different words. I speak about the me feeling and about an emotion. So a me feeling is the I thought that is unexamined. When the I thought is unexamined, it's running, it's humming. But we are so habituated to it that we don't notice it. We don't notice the unhappiness. We have become callous to it, that me feeling, which you could say is a low-level emotion. So it's me, the person, me, my family, my job, my money, my future, my stories about my partner, about my neighbors, my stories about the political situations in the world, my ideas and my feelings about the environment and about the Democratic Party and versus the Republican Party. All of that is this me, the I thought. All of that is your sense of personal self. And whenever life is presenting itself differently, if you are a Republican and the Democrats win the elections, you're upset. If you're a Democrat and the Republican win, you're upset. Whatever is not occurring according to your ideas about yourself and about the world upset you. And so, in a way, since life is never occurring according to your wishes and your wills, you are constantly upset, but you don't notice it. You've become used to it. We are so used to being irritated. It's really crazy, isn't it? If you can all make sure that you have your mic muted. Thank you. So a feeling is a little bit more intense, like you're expecting to get a promotion and you don't get it. The guy next door who works half as hard as you do and who is so much more wealthier than you gets the promotion. You will experience an emotion. You will experience anger, envy, jealousy. You will experience some sort of emotion. So yes, Richard, all emotions are personal. Then you ask, are there impersonal emotions? No. There is no such thing as impersonal emotion. All emotions refer to a person. If you can please mute your mics. Then you ask, do emotions indicate a lack of awareness? Lack of awareness. There is no such thing as a lack of awareness. Awareness is like the space, okay? There's infinite space, and there can be galaxies in the space or lack of galaxies. whether there are galaxies in the space or a lack of galaxies in the space. There is never such a thing as a lack of space. Awareness is the absolute. There is no such thing as more awareness, less awareness, or a lack of awareness, or an increased state of awareness. All of that is a misunderstanding of what awareness is. Maya, can you make sure that your mic is muted? I'm not sure who, there is some sort of crunching sound that I keep hearing. Okay, I think it's better now. So let's be clear about what we mean by awareness. Right now, you're aware. Right? Now, you're also, when I point these glasses, you're aware of perceiving the glasses. And now I remove the glasses, you are still aware. You're aware that you saw the glasses a few seconds ago. You're also aware that right now you are not seeing glasses, but you're also aware that you're aware. In other words, awareness does not need an object in order to become aware. And when an object appears in awareness, awareness does not increase. When the object is removed from awareness, awareness does not decrease. So awareness neither increases nor decreases. There is no such thing as more or less of awareness. That's a misunderstanding of what we mean by awareness. Right now, you're aware that you're aware. And you're aware without any effort, without any thought. You don't need to think that you are aware in order to be aware. You are aware, it's just a fact. Awareness is just a fact. It is not something that becomes increased when you are aware that you're aware. It doesn't get diminished or augmented by it being pointed to or not pointed to. It just is. Awareness is. It's like the wide open sky. The wide open sky is, or like the sunshine. The sun shines, period. Irrespective of whether the planet Earth is at its zenith, which way it's rotating. It doesn't matter at what point around the sun, the planet Earth, or various galaxies are situated. The sun shines across the board, period. So your question that, do emotions indicate a lack of awareness? No. Emotions do not indicate a lack of awareness. Nothing indicates a lack of awareness. There is no such thing as a lack of awareness. There is such a thing as mistake of having a misunderstanding about awareness. The main misunderstanding about awareness is that awareness depends on the body-mind. When the body dies, awareness dies with the body and is born again with another body. That's ignorance. And ignorance meaning because of the lack of understanding, the lack of contemplation, the lack of meditation, you have not arrived. I'm not speaking to you, Richard, particularly, I'm speaking generically. When we do not contemplate the awareness, the reality of awareness, we have thoughts about awareness, we have the concept of awareness, which is similar to the concept of the person. So the person is a concept, and the awareness is a personal concept when we have that misunderstanding about what awareness is. Any questions? Okay, Richard.
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Esther.
I would like you to speak to some of your words that you posted recently. One line in particular. I'll read the line, and then if you want me to read the whole thing, I will. It's, I lend my reality to everything.
Yes. Yes. It's important to understand what when in that quote, I lend my reality to everything. It's important to understand what we mean by I. So by I'm not referring to a body-mind. I'm not referring to any object. I'm referring to I consciousness. Consciousness is real, meaning whenever you look for it, it's there. Which is quite different from the oak tree, which is there before the what do you call those tree cutters? There are people who cut trees. I forgot the word in English. Anyways, the oak tree is there, but when they come to clear all the woods, the oak tree is no longer there. Or the oak tree is there today, in 500 years, the oak tree is not there. So awareness, consciousness is reality, is real. Whenever you look, you will find it. Everything that you perceive, everything that you know and you perceive via and as consciousness, as the reality of awareness. An object, like an oak tree, seems real, appears as real to the senses of perception, touch, due to the reality of awareness. You can remove the tree out of awareness, and awareness remains. But you cannot remove awareness out of the tree, because what would be the tree without an awareness of it? What would be an oak tree without consciousness? If there is no consciousness of the oak tree, there is no oak tree. Like in your night dreams, all your night dreams, you are lending them your reality. You, the dreamer of all the dreams, you lend your reality to your dreamer mind. And there are all sorts of appearances, objects, and forms that appear in your dream. And they only appear as a result of you, your reality, you, the dreamer. They seem to be real because of you, the dreamer. Of their own, they do not exist. On their own, the oak tree, bodily sensations, thoughts and images, memories and feelings, on their own, they do not exist outside of awareness, consciousness. So it is via consciousness that the impression of a real world body mind, because of the reality of consciousness, that the impression of the world body mind appears to you. It is important that you understand that the reality of all your experience is I consciousness, I awareness. That is a completely transparent, effortless presence. And whenever the I thought arises, it veils that transparency. It disturbs the peace. And it reduces the vastness of your understanding to the very narrow sensory field and mental field of the body-mind. The body-mind is very limited in its perception and in its conception. And whenever you are identified, when the I thought arises and there is the identity that I am this man or this woman, you will experience unhappiness, which is nothing else but the veiling of your true nature, which is causeless peace and happiness. There's one reality. And you don't need to think about it. You simply need to realize that whatever it is that is perceiving these words right now, that is hearing these words right now, is this reality. It has no name and no age, and it goes by all names and all ages. It has no shape and no form, and yet it appears as all shapes and all forms. It's never coming or going, because it is ever presence. But yet it seems to come and go. That which does not come and go is what you are. All comings and goings are your dream, your play, your creation. Even the belief that you are mortal requires your acceptance, requires your adhering to this belief. Somehow silently saying, yes, I am mortal, is your silent acquiescence, while in fact the I, the reality that perceives right now, is not phenomenal, has no phenomenal qualities whatsoever. It simply is undeniably so. The I am is undeniable amness, and this amness is also knowing. It knows I am, it knows its amness, and it knows that it's knowing, that it is knowing. I know I am, undeniably so, and I know that I am aware, and that the I that is aware is awareness itself, that I am. And whenever you leave that understanding and you go to the default mode of I am born and I will die, then you become haunted by many thoughts about the body, mind, the world. And the I thought keeps haunting you. Nothing exists outside of yourself. Nothing is outside of your isness. It is your reality that appears as everything. Without being diminished or augmented. Any questions?
Magdi?
Hello, Zoe.
Hi. I had two things. One was something that you posted from Costa Rica. You were talking about, I go with the flow, don't resist, what's happening. But then you said, this doesn't mean I don't have preferences. And I was wondering if you could talk about that a little bit. Because is there identity in preferences?
An identity can be added on to the preference and turn the preference into a me story and complicated. Sometimes I'm okay and open to being with company of friends and chatting. Sometimes I'm drawn to being quiet and alone or doing something else. It can be quite simple, but the preference arises in the moment. It's not a story about yourself. So, like overall, I could say that, I am drawn to quiet relationship, but sometimes you see me, I'm in the midst of very active and lively group, and I'm part of that, you see. So not to have an image so much about myself, because whatever image you have is false. There is a freedom in the moment. There is a way of being in the moment, in the spontaneity of the moment, where right then, freshly, it's very clear whether you are drawn to a certain activity or not. So preference is different from having a story. It's more spontaneous. Also, there are some other preferences that are not a story, but sort of a data. There's been enough data to sustain or to certify this preference. For example, you may be somebody who enjoys reading novels or reading books or reading more sedentary, or you might be somebody who really enjoys, is drawn towards going into the outdoors or doing activities that there are all sorts of activities that you could do in nature. You could do whitewater rafting, or you could just canoe on a lake, or you could just sit on the shore of a lake or the ocean and just watch. So there are various types, various ways in which these body minds are put together.
Mm.
And you will find that you may have a friend that you are very, very close to and very simpatico with, and a lot of things you like to do together, but there are some things you like to do alone, and he or she likes to do different things alone. You don't necessarily enjoy all the things that another person enjoys how to do. Otherwise, we would all be robotic images of each other. So there are certain preferences and differences in the way we are drawn to play this game, to live this dream, which is quite different from being identified, having an identity. But I would say that the identity is has a much stronger manifestation in our life. So our preferences, which are natural preferences, become tainted and become controlled by our stories. And so we become proud because we like whitewater rafting, and so we have a personal proud about this, and we become competitive, and so things get complicated not due to our preferences, but due to our identifications. And the identification, of course, is that I am this body, that I, consciousness, is this body-mind. But consciousness is not a body-mind. Consciousness appears as all appearances, lends its reality to all forms, to all thoughts, to all sensations. When you are not identified, you have a certain clarity in your perception. You just see that, oh, I feel like resting right now. I don't feel like going out for a walk. And it's very simple. There isn't like a story about it or complications about it. And your life in its entirety has that ease to it when there isn't the identification. When there is the identification, it's a very different matter. So coming back to your question, that preferences are natural to all body minds, like to the birds. There are birds who eat fish. They don't like sunflower seeds. And there are birds who couldn't eat a fish, they eat sunflower seeds. There are birds who could not stand living away from the glaciers in the North Pole. There are birds that live out there. And there are some that couldn't live there at all. So also in nature, you could not grow a fig tree in Scandinavia. But if you go to Sardinia, you'll grow fig trees everywhere. They will grow everywhere. They have a preference for a certain climate. If you go to Lebanon, you will find delicious figs.
All right, I'm going there.
My mom used to get upset with me because I used to climb the tree and pick up the figs, and I would soil,
Yeah, I'd be
soil
living in
myself.
the tree.
No. Tengo que ver cómo hago, pero estoy oyendo un satsang con Mandy.
Ah, bueno.
A las
Hi,
5 hablamos.
Ruben.
Say hello to Jenny here.
Oh.
So yes. I wouldn't be so concerned about preferences. Just don't make a story about it.
Okay.
Feel free to live what really speaks to you in the moment. Of course, being respectful and honorable in your relationships with others. It's not. You have to. At the moment, you see what can work, what cannot work. I forgot. Did I answer your question? The way I sort of lost that.
You did, and I had one other thing, but I'm going to let you see if anybody else has questions, and then I can ask later.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Shiva. So any questions? And your preferences can change too, Sometimes we have ideas about ourselves and about things, But when we are very fluid and transparent, and so we try, say, oh my goodness, I didn't know that I enjoy hiking. You see, when I was a young boy, I was in boarding school, and we would go every Sunday on these hikes in the beautiful pine-covered mountains of Lebanon. And but they were such a long hikes, we would the priests, they were very strict, and I guess they really loved the mountains of Lebanon and the view of the Mediterranean. And so they would take us on these 3-4 hour hikes. And we're like, 8, 9, 10-year-old boys, We like to play and run and so on, but after a while, it's like, okay. So I had this idea for many years that, okay, no, I don't want to go hiking, But then later on in my life, I found out that I really enjoy it, you see. So these ideas that I had, thinking that, okay, no, I don't, it's not something that I like to do, I found out that I enjoy it actually. Of course, every now and then I like to sit on the bench and just relax, but so anyways, your preference can change, and not just that, also to be open to, let me try it. I don't know. Let me try it. You can discover a lot of things about this body mind, but how what it can do, what it cannot do, what it enjoys to do. But the mind is going to be sort of free and clear, not to trouble the body with its ideas and images, you see.
But Maggie, like the body sort of has this innate wisdom, like not to put toxic things in it, correct?
Absolutely.
Like, because it's not saying, well, go try smoking. And
Oh, no. I mean, again, like, I tried smoking when I was in my, and I tried smoking cigarettes, but I didn't like it at all, and I didn't follow up. But again, sometimes, although the body has its wisdom, we have this, our teenage years, at least, we have this, we want to be accepted, the image of being being part of the gang is more important than
what we're doing to our
Well,
body.
feeling sick, right? But yes, the body has its wisdom, and it speaks directly to you,
Yeah.
and so that's not complicated. The
Yeah.
complication comes more from our ideas about ourselves, about our family, about our children, about our God knows all these ideas we have, and the ideas that we have, behind them there is the belief that I am a man, a woman, I am a mother and a father. Those beliefs, that the initial sin, I am mortal, that I am born, I am this body mind, brings a certain charge to the body mind that's very toxic. There are parents who are very, very cruel to their children out of this toxicity, out of this identity, and they yell at their children, they want their children to get very good grades and to be the best children, and they push them, and oh my God, it's so cruel. And they cannot see beyond their beliefs, because they are so identified with that. They're my children, they have their ideas about themselves, and they don't want to be a failure, you see. So I have these images of themselves, and they project them onto their life, you see. And it's so complicated. It's not peaceful. It spreads the disease, you see. So we have a very diseased society, you see. I'm not talking just about in the US, but I'm talking globally on this planet. It's very corrupt, the corruption of personal identification, and all the emotions that come with that, the jealousy, envy, judgments, and gossip.
Yeah, the competition in the schools, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have we bring out these children that are sort of like dead inside, they're dead inside, and they're just trying to find the happiness, and they keep filling their life with things, with experiences, with traveling, and God knows what. They try to trying to find a peace, but externally, but you don't find it. You don't find it because we don't know it ourselves. So how can we teach it to our children?
Yeah.
But what we're talking about now is to awaken to that, and not to perpetuate this madness, you see. So we have to contemplate the peace, not the peace that depends on anything, but the peace of being, the love that is, the love that I am, the love that I refers to. Not I love you. No, I love you more because you've been this and that. No, I don't mean like that. But the love that has no cause, that is the source of everything, that is everything. The love that shines onto everything, that is at the heart of everything, you see. So that is completely overlooked by our mind, by all these pursuits and these concerns and these images and ideas and comparisons and judgments, and it's pretty miserable. It's deadly. It's really deadly.
It really is.
There is no
Wow.
love. It's no love in that. No love in that. But we say we love our children. You say we have these ideas, and that we're just we're feeding a virus in our children without realizing it. So,
Wow, that just really hit home. Oh, well, I wanted to share something else that happened, and maybe you can explain it more for me. it was this experience of hearing a sound, and it was a very ordinary sound, like a car coming off in the distance, and then coming louder and then fading. But Magdi, it was like timeless. It was like the whole thing was complete right there. And it was like not hearing it in time. It was here, even though it was in time. I don't know how to explain it, but what I started thinking about, like everything is already whole and complete like that. And we just imagine that it comes and gets louder and then fades off.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any question?
Hey, Magdi.
Esther?
I don't know if it was just me, but I didn't get a word that Zoe said in her question, in your dialogue with her. Nothing came through.
Oh.
I'll check on YouTube and see if it came through there, but I didn't hear a word she said.
Did anybody else, did you hear Zoe? Anybody heard Zoe?
I could hear Zoe.
Okay, Holly. I don't know, Esther.
Oh, so Holly heard her?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Gosh, I don't know what's
How
going
about you, Tara? Did you hear Zoe? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I don't know how to explain that to Esther.
Yeah, I don't know.
I heard her also.
This technology. But
Yes.
anyway, I have a question related to what Richard asked, and you kind of touched on it with Zoe. I would like you to distinguish between the personal emotions and the feeling, the experiencing of reality in the way of sadness and joy, just to make that distinction.
Yes. So there is the sadness of separation, like we got together in Costa Rica, was very beautiful, then we say goodbye. There is a certain sadness, but it's a sweet sadness. It's a happy sadness. It's not sorrowful. It's not. There's a recognition of the lovely time we spent together, and the joy that we experience together, the happiness that we experience together, the love that we experience together. It's also this sweet sadness of recollecting some of us, our parents are past, and sometimes an image of or a recollection of my mother cooking something. She loved to cook. She always wanted to feed me, She had this thing about feeding me. Oh my goodness. She was very sweet, very sweet. It was like the Italian mothers, mangi, mangi. So, yeah, it's very sweet. Sometimes there is a recollection that arises. But it's not, it's peaceful, it's happy. It doesn't go into, it's just sort of, it doesn't get complicated. It doesn't have should have or shouldn't have, or it's just sweet. We experience that also when with our pets, you know. Sometimes we've been with a pet for a friend for so many years, and then the pet dies. I remember I used to have a parrot, a small parakeet, years ago. I really grew very fond of the parakeet. And one day, parakeet died. And I would recollect the parakeet for a few years after, and it was always very sweet and missing it. Uh, when we are happy, we don't experience any negative emotions. A negative emotion is always referring to me in time and space. Me yesterday, me tomorrow, and of course, me and the other, me and him, me and her. Why did she? Why didn't she? Why did he? He should have, I should have. And it's very complicated. The mind. Negative emotion always referring to the I thought. Me, the person. Me, this man. Me, this woman. Me, this. And it doesn't refer to presence. I mean, right now, our relationship in this moment, it's a fresh moment, very lovely. We don't know what's the next word that's going to be said, or what's going to be appearing, what's going to appear next. We don't know, and we don't need to know. It's really beautiful. It's spontaneous. It's like going out in the wind, and we don't know how the wind is going to. It's going to be gentle. It's going to blow this way, and then we don't know. Or like walking in nature, you don't know what's the next perception is. So when you are happy, you are free of identification. There is a freshness of being, the light of being, that is just shining through you as everything, as every perception, every sensation. It's fresh. It doesn't have any emotion in it. It's not thinking about me in the future or in the past. And it has its own intelligence. It's taking care of everything. It's taking care of nature. It's taking care of the body mind. It's taking care of the galactic order. And this body mind is an integral part of all of that. It's an integral part of this dream, this divine dream. And the reality of this divine dream is this consciousness, is this transparent presence, the presence that hears these words right now, that is formless, shapeless. And there are no emotions in that. There isn't a person or anything personal in that. It's the absence of any veils, the absence of any personal notions, beliefs, identities, stories. And that's love, because it's embracing everything equally. It's not distinguishing. There is distinction, of course, at the body-mind level. And it's very smart. We're not going to walk in the ocean when we don't know how to swim. We're not going to eat a mushroom if we do not know which mushroom is poisonous and which mushroom is not. That sort of distinction makes sense at the body-mind level. But at the heart level, at the presence level, the I is everything. The reality of the self, the reality of consciousness, lends itself to everything equally, to the cobra or to the dove equally. So sadness and joy, the sweet sadness is sort of an expression of our tenderness and our interconnectivity. And the joy, which is the ebullience of life, the joy of the recognition of everything as some magical show, and that I is this magical show. I, universal I meaning I as everything and everyone. We are living this magical show, but we're not celebrating it because of our belief in immortality and our concerns about the person. Don't be so concerned. Celebrate the show, love and enjoy. Like little children, when they go to the circus, they just like to play. They run around. They want to go on the merry-go-round. They're not concerned about it. Parents are so concerned. They just want to go from one stand to another. Similarly, in this life, it's an opportunity to celebrate. But of course, to be able to celebrate, we also have to contemplate. So we contemplate the reality of consciousness. What am I truly? What is the reality of my experience? What is it that is real? Right here, right now, what is it that is real? So we can be free from the virus of false identification. Because false identification keeps haunting us and making us worried. We're worried about this, worried about that. When is this going to happen? When is that going to happen? So we can just relax and enjoy and celebrate everything that appears. So we celebrate everything that appears equally. It's the yesness and natural yesness to everything, and trusting the wisdom that is the universal wisdom to guide the body-mind in a certain way. But we're not the body-mind, you see. We are consciousness. Body-minds come and go, okay. In deep sleep, there's no body-mind. During the night dream, oh, so many different body-minds. So many different body-minds in the night dream. In deep sleep, no body-mind. We are so concerned about the body-mind. Don't be so concerned about it. Just be concerned about peace, love and happiness, truth, the recognition of the distinction between the false and the real. The real, you know it because you are it. It does not come and go. It does not change. It's not more real today, less real tomorrow, and more real the day after. It's not like that. Reality is absolute. It's absolute, meaning everything is reality. You cannot have a reality versus non-reality. That makes no sense to have reality versus non-reality. It's reality, period. Non-reality is just a term, but it doesn't refer to anything. How could non-reality refer to anything? What would it refer to if it's non-reality? Right? It would refer to the non-real this and non-real that, and what are we talking about? It's only reality. If there's only reality, then I is this reality. And everything is this reality. So I is everything. I is reality. Reality. That's everything. And since everything comes and goes, meaning this chair is here today, not here in 100 years, then the reality of I does not come and go. The body mind goes. This body will go, but I is not the body. So the I lends its reality to world, body, minds, infinite, ad infinitum, without any concern, since it is neither augmented nor diminished by its infinite dreams. Yes? So any questions? You know, our true nature is this peace. And it is the best guide in your life. The freedom. Trusting that rather than trusting the mind and our thinking, which is so conditioned, so perverted, infected. It's infected because of ignorance, not knowing. The peace, the mind is always looking out for some reason or some condition, something to grab onto. But whatever you grab onto will be gone sooner or later. Then what? Come on to the peace that is. What you truly are is this peace. To returning, keep returning to that. Trust that and notice the tendencies to go into personal thoughts. To notice that. Notice it. Notice it to the point where you lose your interest in it. Because you see it's pretty miserable. You believe there is something there, that this will bring us the happiness, but it doesn't. Thought cannot bring you happiness. Thought is strictly about your emotions. It's about your feelings. It's a diversion. It's an escape from being, from pure being. Because it cannot stand being, because in being, it dissolves. So it's constantly doing the becoming. And there is no end to that. Becoming, becoming, becoming. There's no end. Peace has nothing to do with becoming. It's purely being. Pure being. Satchitananda. Being awareness. It's not becoming. So you have to trust that. And notice the I thought that's constantly trying to get you into some sort of activity, and to just sort of notice it. In noticing, there is wisdom. The wisdom of noticing. Because noticing is intention free. Noticing is love. There is love in noticing. Because it's noticing what is. You cannot notice what you would like. You notice what is. What you would like may arise as a thought. So you're noticing that thought, which is. So in noticing, there is a purity. There is a purity of noticing. There is no activity in noticing. There is a stillness in noticing. The transparency of noticing. The sort of listening, sort of looking, listening, that is borderless in a way, that's open to whatever appears. It's open. It's an open space of listening, looking, being, presence. You trust that. That's the guide in your life. You'd be surprised that that's really what is what is keeping gravity in place. That is the core, the heart of gravity. Is that. The cosmic order is due to that. So the vastness of being. You have to come to it sooner or later. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. And you are it. You are this peace. You are this presence. You are this shining light of being. Everything is perceived through you by I, not I, body, mind, not the male or female self. I that is genderless. Anyways, any questions? Okay, so send you all my love. Very happy to be with you. Namaste.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Maggie.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.